So today's topic is parameters and variables. Okay. So what is this parameters and variables? I think you are aware of parameters because we discussed in previous sessions uh,
Yes, yes,
the dynamic mapping, right?
yes.
So how you will pass these parameters? So why we have created parameters in the dynamic mapping task?
Yeah, during runtime, we can it will pick up the appropriate values.
Yeah. So those are while we were passing the connection values as parameter.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, yes,
Okay. So for that we have used parameters and variables. So check this. Yeah. So the dynamic value to mapping. Okay. So parameter is nothing but value will not change during the runtime. So it is fixed. Let's say the connection values, right, which we have created in the dynamic mapping task. Dynamic mapping task, we have created parameters for connections, right? So these values will not be changed. These are like static fields. So when you create a parameters for the connections, there we will give like source, what is the source value and what is the target value. So those are fixed. It will not change during the runtime. Okay. So variable is nothing but value may change during the runtime. Okay. Let's say if you are today you are running some jobs. Okay. Here, so you have like 10K records from source and you have loaded into the target table. So let's say here you have loaded only 50K. Okay, in between some error has been happened. So it has stopped loading the rest of the records from source to the target. Okay. So in that case, what we need to do, we need to hold that the values till where we have loaded into the target from source. So that value should be captured in a some variable. Okay, some variable value we need to capture. So this value will hold that what is the last value which has been sent to the target table. So next, if you then you rectified the error and you started loading again from where it is stopped, and from there it has resumed the job. So at that time again you need to get that value from where it has stopped, so that the max timestamp value should be captured in some variable value. So what it will do, it will resume from that timestamp and then it will start processing the records. Again some error happened. So at that time it has again the maximum value, maximum timestamp will be there. So after some time, if you rectify that error, again you will start processing the scheme. So it's like every during runtime, the value is changing here, correct?
Yes, yes.
So these values where it will change in the variables. So these changing values will be capturing into the variables. Wherever the values which will not change, those we will be taken into the parameters. Clear on
Constant,
this?
right? We
Yeah,
will say
constant.
constant, no?
Hmm.
Okay.
So that's what it says here. Value will not change during runtime. Where it is comes to variables, value may change during the runtime. Okay. So how we will define the parameters and variables? So we know that dollar dollar it is a user defined parameter. So dollar is nothing but system defined parameters. Okay, where we will see system defined parameters like root directories. Okay. So if you see here in the source, I have used, right, you go here, Informatica files, the source files. So I have taken the source file entire path and I created a source connection. Correct. So in real time, we will not take this entire path, and we will not create the source file connection values with the entire path. So we will not create in that way real time. So what we'll do, the admin teams, so they will make sure of what are the source file path, target file paths. So they will create parameters for this. So what kind of parameters they will create? System defined parameters with the dollar symbol. So they will create here, it's like PM source or dollar PM target. So Informatica, it will refer what is this value. So indirectly it will refer the source file path.
PM
In this,
stands for why
uh,
PM? Okay, it's a
it's like
system variable.
parameter. PM means
Okay,
parameter.
okay, parameter. Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. So it's a system defined parameter, and some, if you have a Unix system, right? So in that case, what will do? PM root. So which is nothing but root directory. Okay. In this way, we will create in real time. So we will not giving entire the path value like C directory, directory. If it is Unix system, something like root slash some folder name, again subfolder name. So we will not be giving these values directly. So if you want to change it, let's suppose for one job we are using some other paths, and for one other job we are using some another paths. So in that case, what you need to change, right? So constantly you need to keep on changing. So which is not a good practice. So for that we will create a variables, we will create a parameters. So where you have to change, you just change it one time. If you change it root level, then this by default all these parameter values will consider the root value. So wherever you define this root value in your jobs, so it will refer to the main path. That's it. So you don't have to change to all the jobs if you want to change the path. So for that purpose, they will create a system defined parameters. User defined parameters is nothing but which we will create. So let's say you want to filter some records. So dollar dollar some here, if you see dollar dollar sales channel equal to offline. So if you want to pass the parameter value during runtime, then we can pass in this way. So this offline is also, it will not change during the runtime. This is fixed. Okay, clear on this parameter.
Yes, clear.
Let's see one mapping for this, how we can create the parameters. So you will clearly understand. So I'll create a mapping. So let me take this as a source. Okay. Start from. So we have this transaction details. Okay. So normally how you will filter, we will to filter this, how we can do, what are the possible ways we have. So if you want to filter something, so how many ways you have to filter out the records. So in source, if you see the query option is there, right? You can write override query. You can write there itself. We have a filter. So this is the trans details query option. Here you can filter, right? Here you can write some query. So this is the trans table. So what you want to do? You want to filter out the sales channel. Okay. equal to offline. So in this way you will write, correct? Or else you go to advanced. Here you have SQL query override. Here you will write the entire SQL query where sales channel equal to offline. These are two methods. Or here you can take filter. Here you can give the filter condition. Okay. So these are the three possible ways, right?
Yes.
So these are like these are what we can do here. Here we will be doing all the hard coding. Okay. So here you will hard code what is the filter condition. In advance also you will write query and you will hard code that. If you take filter transformation also, there also you will hard code it. Let's say for tomorrow you want to change that filter condition to online. So how you will do? Again you will create a new mapping, or you have to edit this. If you edit the same previous mapping also, again if you want to change it to offline, again you need to edit onto the same mapping. But in production, will you be able to edit every time?
No.
No, right? If you create two mappings also, will you able to edit the same mapping?
No.
No. So we cannot edit in the production. So for that, what we can do, you can pass parameter values directly. So what you need to change, you need to only change the value. That's it. The same value it will be mapped to the mapping. Okay. So those are parameters. Let's say here query option. You take filter. Not parameterized is nothing but it's a simple condition. You will select this object. What is the field you want to filter? What is the operator? And you will give the value. Okay, this is simple filter condition. If you go advanced, you can write some queries there itself. But if you want to parameterize, click on this completely parameterize. If you have any parameters created before itself, you will get here. So those parameters it will reflect here. So as of now, we don't have any parameters. Let's create new parameter. So it is a filter parameter. And if you want to give any description labels, you can give here. Click on OK. So now, what is the parameter? It is a filter parameter. Okay. So we have now this filter parameter. We go and check here parameters. So here you will get it. Okay. On source, we have made the filter. Got it?
Yeah. Got it.
Let me load into the target. So we have created a parameter on the. So you might get doubt here. So we haven't defined anywhere the filter condition, right? What we have done, we just given the
Yeah.
parameter
Yeah.
that's it. Okay. So for that, you need to create a mapping task here. Go on here, empty underscore. So select your runtime environment. This is the mapping. Click on next. See here, you get source now. So if you don't define any parameters in the mapping here itself, if you write some override query or if you give filter condition here itself, you give filter condition here, or if you write a query here, filter query, so you won't get this source tab when you create a mapping task. But since we have given as a parameter, so on source we have given the parameter filter condition. So that's why here you are able to see the source tab, one more extra tab. So what is this source parameter we have? Trans details. Here if you see filter, source and parameter, we should get choose parameter values for the different sources. Filter, here we should get it. Hmm. So what we're doing here in this way, equal to perfect. Okay, click on next, save it. So the mapping task is valid. Let me run the mapping. So now what records we should get?
based on that filter condition.
So we should get only the offline records.
Yes.
So we got 50 out of 101. We got only 50 records. So if you see sales channel is off, 50 rows. Okay. So here, but if you see in the mapping task also in the source, here we have given manual only, correct? Even though we created a parameter in the on the source,
Yeah, yeah,
mapping task here also we are hard coding it. So we are not passing the values here.
yeah,
So to pass only the values, so how we can create this? So this is the source, right? So that is also one way to in the filter in the parameters. So how we can hard code the value there in the mapping class also we can hard code it. So here this is the parameter, right? Now I'll create one more parameter. No parameter to the filter. So, so I'll delete this. I'll use this. Cannot contain the character. We are completely parameterized. Go to advanced. So here what I'll do, filter. So in this way I'll filter the condition. Okay, now the filter condition is completely parameterized. So we need to pass this filter condition in the parameter file. Save this. So it is a valid now. where we have created that mapping task. Parenting. So click on edit. So now we will see, you don't see the source tab,
Mm.
correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it is
Because
not
we
shown.
completely parameterize now. Now we are not doing any hard coding here. So how we can pass the value? Click on the next. Here you can see parameter file location, right? So click on this. You can see one parameter file template. Just download this template. Open the file location here. So what I'll do, I'm editing this one. So this is the template. Okay. Hash selection. So this is the must and should line in the parameter file. If you don't have this, the IICS will not identify what are the values we pass in a parameter file. Okay. So here you can see you want to pass these parameter values as a local or cloud hosted. So since you are working in a local, right? In your real time also, if your secure agent is installed on your local machine, then you can use this local, or if it is installed in a cloud servers, then you can go with cloud hosted. Okay. So it's entirely depending on the where your secure agent is installed.
Okay, okay. Mm.
Okay. Since we are installed in our local system, right? So I'm selecting local. Parameter file directory. What is the parameter file name? So parameter file directory, if you go here, you will see the directory here. So absolute path for the directory that contains the parameter file or path related to PM variable, $PM variables, excluding the parameter file name. If you do not enter a file path, the following value is used: slash apps slash data integration server slash data slash user parameters. So that is the default parameter file directory. In real time also that is the same file directory. So where you can see that, so when you install your secure agent, okay, so I'm installed in C drive, program files, Informatica Cloud Secure Agent, apps. Under this apps, data integration server. Okay, under this we have a data, if you see user parameters. So this is where we need to define the parameter file values, file path, this file. Okay, so what I'll do, so this is the template. You will see this default, and then by default you will get the parameter. What is the mapping task name? So this you will get it here. Just enter it. So here you need to define this variable parameter. Okay. So dollar parameter equal to. So what is the filter condition? Sales channel equal to offline. Okay. So here we are defining it. In the file, parameter file, here we are defining. In future, you want to filter only for the online. So what you will do? You will come to this. You will come to this directory. You just need to change only this. It is very simple, right? Instead of going through the mapping and everything.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
In production also, you will not be having any access to the jobs to edit it. What you can do, you can just edit in the parameter file directory. The same will be reflected to the mappings, whatever you created. Correct.
Yes.
So
So,
what? Yeah.
can't we change the location, or this is the only by allowed location for storing parameter file?
This is the default location in every
Ah, okay,
company. If you are working in IICS, this is the path to create your user defined parameters.
okay. But we can place the parameter anywhere.
No, in this directory only you need to place it.
Ah, okay, okay. So it's
So
mandatory. Okay.
otherwise IICS will not identify the path. because here
Okay.
you have seen, right, parameter file directory
Okay, okay. It should
slash
match
as
here.
data integration
Okay, okay.
slash data slash user parameter. So this is the default path.
Okay, it
If
will
you
search
don't
here.
give here path also, by default it will take that.
Okay.
If you want to define in other folders, you need to mention the entire path here like this.
Okay, okay.
Okay. But recommended is this one only.
Okay.
This is the default folder. So here only you need to create it. If you come up with any scenarios, right, then you need to go with the user defined parameter file path. Okay. So here you will see one more is global. So what is this global? So here whatever you defined under this user use sections, okay. So all these, this is a local parameters. If you define anything under global, these are like global parameters. So global is nothing but if you want to pass this filter condition for like three or five mapping task. So in five jobs you have the same filter condition and you need to pass it for all the jobs in a single file only. So if you mention global, if you give your filter condition under global, so which is nothing but it will take for another jobs as well. So if you mention the filter condition above the global, these are like only to the local access. So only to that particular mapping. Okay,
Okay, okay. Within your mapping means that is local.
local, correct.
For multiple mappings means we
For
have to
outside
share the.
mappings, if you
Okay,
want to
okay.
use that,
Global.
then you need to mention under global.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and here also the priority will be there. The first priority is local. Okay, so the IICS it will first check whatever is there any local parameters has been defined or not. So IICS it will check. So you here if you see I have given two conditions. Okay, two parameters I have defined here. So
Hmm.
online and offline both I have given the filter. So first
Okay.
it will check only online. So based
Okay.
on this condition only the records will be loaded. Okay. So if you don't mention this one,
It will
so this
pick
is how,
global.
yeah. So this is how you created the parameter file. Okay. Under local there is no conditions. Then it will go with to the global. Are there any global conditions or defined? Yes. So local is not there. So they have defined global. Then it will take this. This is the second priority.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the priorities. So these are the local and global parameters. You clear on this, right?
Yes, yes.
What is local and what is global? So now I have created this parameter file. So this is under download folder, right? This is the folder. So what I'll do, I'll place this under this user parameter. Okay. You want to check this. Yeah. So this is what we created, right? Okay. So I have placed this folder and what you need to do, just rename rm.txt. Yes. Okay. So that is template we downloaded. In that way, we need to create the parameter files. So whenever you are not aware of how to create the parameter files, you just download the template from here, the mapping task. In the mapping task, runtime options, you can see the template. So just download it and you copy all the template into text file and you define the filter conditions here. Okay. So now I created a file. Now what I need to do, I need to give the file name. So what is the file name? param.txt. Okay, and the path I'm not defining because it's a default one. By default, it will go and check here itself. Save it. Now run the mapping. Okay, now it has loaded 51 records since it is a online. Category is online, right? So it is online. Now we loaded all the online. So I hope you are clear on this. Okay.
Yes.
So this is all about parameters. Now let's see what is variables. And this in this parameter, the value is not changing, right? Entire runtime. So if you want to change it, you need to edit this there in the parameter file. Here you need to edit. You are editing here, but this value is not changing during runtime.
Yes. Yes. Mm-mm.
Okay. So now let's see if the value is changing at runtime. So how we can capture that? So by using variables, we can capture it. So this is the example. Let me give you one more another scenario. So let's say um, I'll explain the same example here for variables. So you have 10K records. Okay. So it's a daily job, daily or weekly or monthly job. So it's like in the earlier classes we discussed about CDC concept. So how we will be loading. So in real time, how we will load from source, we will pull the records right into the staging layer, and then from there we will do some business logics, and then we will load into the data warehouse by using SCD. Okay. So here every day we will be pulling the data, right? So for the first time,
Yes.
let's say
Yes.
you have here 10 years data. So we
Full
pulled
loader.
it. Okay, full load we done it.
Mhm.
And for the next day, so you got some 1 year record. 1 year records of data you got it. So how you will pull the data? You will not read entire 11 years data, right? So you have to read only 1 year of data. Since last 10 years we have already loaded. So how we can load it? So we'll be having created data and updated data. Created it, updated will be there. Okay. So for the second run, we need to look on the max date. Okay. So for the last time, what is the maximum date we have? So that maximum date should be, so this updated date, or last full date. So that last date should be greater than or equal to max date. So let's say here till yesterday we have loaded till 14th. So this is updated date is, let's say updated date is 20. Okay, 20 Jan. So till 14th we have loaded, and we need to check this condition. What is the maximum date? So maximum date is 20 Jan. So they have been updated the data in the source, but we loaded till 14th. Oh, no, no. Updated date Last updated it with 20 and we got some updated records. Hmm. So created it is 14th and updated in the previous run it is a 15th. So again we need to check for the next day till 15th we have loaded and we can see the max date is 20 Jan. So we need to pull all the maximum date records. So in that way we will pull it, right. So that is like a incremental loading. So here also we need to capture that value. So if it is a daily run, so every day we need to capture that what is the maximum timestamp. Okay. So how we can do is, so we need to create a variable by using $$ max maximum timestamp. Let's say on the same day, so we need to pull the data from 12 a.m. to, so in this time period we will be getting the data and we need to pull the data only in between this time only. Okay. So now, so how we can capture the maximum time step here? So let's say today we have loaded till 7 a.m. From 12 a.m. night midnight to morning 7 a.m. you have loaded. Okay. So after 7 a.m. there is a pooling time like 1 hour. So every 1 hour the data is updating. So for the first run it has ran till 7 a.m. Let's say you got some 50K records. Okay. And after 1 hour again you got some 10K records. Now you need to check, right. So you cannot read again from first record to the 20K record. So that's why we will be captured that maximum timestamp. So till 7 a.m. we have loaded, so that the timestamp we have captured it in this variable $$ max timestamp. Okay. So now when you run the job again, pull another 10 records. So here it will check credited date, created date greater than equal to updated date. Okay. So based on this condition, we will load into the target table. 50K and then next is 50K. So we will check here the max. We will write like where in SQL query override we need to filter the condition every time, like how we used in SCD types. You will look up on active records, right? So in that way, here we will be creating a variable. So this variable will always update the value during the runtime. For the first run, it has taken 7 a.m. For the second run, it will take 8 a.m. For the third run, let's say for every after job run, it cooling time also it will increasing. For the first 1 hour, next 5 hours, next 10 hours. So these are the three time periods. On these time periods, the data is getting into the source. And in the same way, you need to pull the data. So first, the job, it is 7 a.m. till 7 a.m. After 5 hours, set 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. again you will pull it. The maximum time step will be 1 p.m. After that, 11 p.m. So basically what it is doing here, variable value, it is changing. During runtime, it is changing the value. So it is holding the maximum timestamp value. Got it?
So variable here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, variable is nothing but it will change during the runtime.
Okay, okay, okay.
So if you want to define the variables, $$ is a user defined variable. So it is similar to here, $$ user defined parameter as well as user defined variable. Dollar is system defined parameter as well as system defined variable. So wherever you see $, it is a user defined one. Wherever you see only single dollar, it is a system defined. Okay. Either it is a parameter or it is a variable. So if you want to give some filter conditions more in your job, you can take multiple conditions as well. So in this way, if you want to filter out any records, if you want to filter, if you want to make the connections as parameter, you can define everything in a local. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay,
let's see this variable how we can create. So I'll create a mapping for this. Underscore. So for this, I'll select this as a source. If you see here, I have a created data and update data. Okay. Employee CDC. Employees CDC, right? Employees. So what I have to do now, I need to capture the maximum timestamp, right? So what I'll do here, so these are the things. Let me open the variable one. So to create that in source query, we need to write this logic. Okay. So this is where we need to write this. So I'll filter on this. In the source, go to advanced, employee CDC, credit date greater than two data, $, max created date. Okay. So this is the variable which I am going to hold it. So I have created filter condition. Next, we need to take one expression to create the variable. Okay. So this is a variable. Since this is a variable, we need to create a variable value, variable code. Okay. So take expression here, go to expression, click on this, select variable field. So what is that variable field? So I'll take this. So v underscore max created date. This is a date and time. Click on OK. So here we need to define that value. If we go here, built-in functions, we will be having all the special functions here. Set count variable. Set count variable. So this variable we will use to count the values. Let's say for the first run, how many records you have been loaded. So that count you need to hold in a one variable value. So you can make use of this set count variable. These are like aggregation values. Okay. So to count it, to get the maximum value, to get the minimum value, or you just want to hold some variable values. Okay. So here I'll take max because we are doing here max created date. So this is the expression set max variable of dollar variable. So what is this dollar variable we created? Max created date. Here you need to pass that dollar max created date. And what is the expression? So this expression is nothing but on what column? So this is the created. So whatever the max created date is there in this column, so that value it will hold it here. But the next run, the IICS it will check what is the maximum created date. So based on that, so greater than created dates only it will allow for the next run. Okay. Here it will not validate because this is a variable, right? So this will come when you are running the mapping. So at runtime the value it will take. So it will not be validated now. Click on
So
OK.
this is not a problem. This
Yeah, it's not a
okay,
problem.
okay,
When you are
okay.
creating variables on parameters, you cannot validate because you don't know the value here, right?
Yes, yes, yeah,
So it
yeah.
will not validate it.
Okay, okay.
Click on OK. Now target. In target table, I'll just create a runtime. So 3 underscore CDC. Okay. So field mapping also will not be there. So till now it is fine. Okay. So we need to create the variables, right? So when you are using variables, so you should have a inode parameters. Click on this, create that inode parameter. So because of we are passing this to the next transformation. No, sorry, next mapping. So this job will complete. So next we need to for the next run. So we need to pass the value to the next maplet, right? Next mapping task. So for that we need to create variables in a in out parameters. So first in the first mapping task, the value will be in. Okay. For the next, the same variable value will be out from the first mapping task, and it will be passed to the next mapping task. So that's why the variable values will create should create in inode parameters, not input parameters. Okay. So this is also you need to careful while you are creating. So create a date is not, that's why we need to data type as a date time and retention policy. on success, on warning, on never. You can select this policy based on your requirement. Here if you see aggregation types are there. Maximum, minimum, count. So here what we are doing, we are taking the maximum, right? So we need to select the maximum. Click on OK. So now we have created a variable in a in-out parameter. Save it. What is this in expression? Is invalid simple it's variable. Create date. This is a date time.
Yeah, yeah, we have to create.
Hmm. Because we need to hold that variable, right? So like how
Yes, yes.
we create for sequence generator, we need to hold that value, right? So what is the last
Yes, yes.
sequence
Global
value?
variable.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the next sequence value? It should hold. So that's why we need to create the mapping task. If you see here, in node parameters, we have a max created date. So default value is not, we haven't given. Next run, you will get the values here. What is the maximum value? Click on next. Save it. So it is a valid one. Let's run the mapping now. To jobs. It is failed. SQL statement. So is that in advance? So here we need to filter it. Select. So what are the columns we have? ID, name, email. So what I'll do, let me download the session log. So we will be having the query there. SQL. We don't have it. So I'll write this only. Select. So ID, email, department ID, created date, updated date, run, employee CDC, and then where employee CDC created date greater than equals. Okay. Save it. Rerun the job. For the first time, it has created the target table. So we need to select it. Yes. It is there, right? Why it is showing? Change it. Target existing. Why it is not building its refreshing? Name is already used by the existing object. Then why it is not showing? So we create one more, that's it. Okay, save it. So it is a valid. Run the mapping again. You are following, right? See, now it has loaded 17 records. Okay, if we run it, CDC1. So now it has loaded all the created data and updated it. Okay, if you, what is the maximum we are getting? 12, 11, 24, right? This is the max created date. So what I'll do in the source, I will update one record. Okay, let's see for the next time how many records it will pull. CDC employees CDC, right? Yeah. So this is now I'll update one record here. Okay. So I'll
Yeah.
insert new 18 is MGR salary like 25,000 10 different mail. So created date, what was the maximum date we have? 12 11 24. So what I'll do? 12 12 25. So this is a created date and the updated is 11 24. Okay. So I committed it.
Created date
Hmm.
25. 20,
20. Yeah.
12 12 means
No, I'm just
December.
taking it as it's just example.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's not like just for demo purpose. I'm just taking feature date. So now we have a 12 12 25. So in filter condition, what we have given here, employees created date greater than the previous date. So previous, the last load is 12 11 24. This is the maximum date for the first load. And after this, what we will get? from 13/11/2024 to those are the latest records. That from that date we need to load into the staging layer. Correct? Okay.
Yes.
So for your purpose, I'll just change this 2024 13 7. Okay, and I'll insert one more. 19. Developer 2000. Let's say from 13 November 2024 to, so we got like some 1,000 records till 13 12 25. Okay, so 12 11 24. Okay, commit and quickly check this. So we got two records which are greater than the created date. Now if I run this, so how many records we should get? But we will not get here. So here I'll just replace maximum date. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what it will do, right? In the
Yes, yes, yes.
IICS, what it
Runtime.
will do, it will take. This is the maximum created date. So it will replace the value here. Okay. So if I run this,
The two records.
two records we should get it. Created at greater than today 12/11/24. Created date, right? Keep it. Why we are getting this 12/11/24? See, how we are getting two records only. So this value will always will be changing. So if I rerun this, you should, before that, what I will do, I will show you the value here. See, in inner parameters, this is the maximum created date. So 11/12/24. So now it will validate where maximum date greater than this. Greater than this value only, it will load the data. So first it has read 17. Now if I restart it, restart. So you got only two records. See, out of 17, it has readed only 12 records and it loaded only two. So now you will get 12, 13, 25. This is the maximum created date. Okay, in the target, if I run this, here you can see you get two more records. Got it? These are the two records, right, which we created in the source. Got it, Anwar?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, yeah.
So this is how we will hold the values using variables. And this is how we will pass the values using parameters.
Okay.
So this is all about parameters and variables. Do you have any doubts?